If you find yourself with a camera in your hand and you want to learn how to use it, please subscribe to this channel, like the videos, comment down below what you would like to learn more about. Hi Photon subscribers. Today we're talking about how to blur backgrounds. First, I want to give you a verbal video hint about focusing that I meant to give you in a previous video. Hey Photon subscribers, this is really bad. I keep forgetting to give you that tip on focusing. But I did give you in the video where we were talking about when we were shooting outside, shooting the icicles and the frozen water drops on the wild scallions. But as we talk about blurring backgrounds, it's going to be important that you have a good focus on your subject, because the thing that comes to mind when we're talking about blurring a background is there's no part of your background or foreground that is completely unlit or black in that regard. That there's no complete black point in your photograph is the terms of use in the photography field, especially in the post-processing. One of the adjustments you'll have is a black point that and in Darktable it's a slider, and it allows you to add contrast for whatever dark shadows are in your image. It makes them even darker. So how to blur your background is important, but without this one key of how to focus that I've found helpful to me, I hope is helpful to you, will really narrow down your viewers' need in searching for where to look. In the image that we took while we were outside a week or so ago, a few weeks ago, and I showed you the image of the water drops frozen on the scallion leaves, the method that I used there and on the icicles, so we'll give you the visual image of the wild scallion with the water drops frozen on those leaves. Because it has that background so blurred out, you can tell there's something behind there, and it's kind of interesting, but it's not, in my opinion, maybe I didn't shoot as well as I thought, but I didn't take a lot of time to study out and to work that photograph over to be anything of a competition level. But the blur of the background I shot at a wider open, lower number aperture. I shot at about 100 ISO, if I recall, maybe 125, and as fast a shutter speed as I could. 1/100th of a second, or maybe 1/160th of a second. And that allowed, with the very low f-stop number, which is a very wide open aperture, it closed in. So let's think about it this way. Try and give you a side view visual. It gave you the closed in amount of focus, and anything outside of that focus area quickly fell off of focus. So anything that is more than, say, 1 foot outside the focal area was very quickly fading to blurry, and it wasn't in focus. That information right there is showing you and telling you about your depth of field. And with a very low aperture number, which is a very wide open diaphragm, that's showing you that your visual depth of field is going to be shallow, very narrow. So I gave you a very shallow view of the wild scallions because I wanted to draw your attention to the frozen water droplets and get the water droplets as sharp in focus as I could. So I narrowed the area of focus down to the few leaves that I wanted to isolate at the wild scallion plant, and did my best to get the water droplets in focus. That allowed for everything that was behind the wild scallion plant to very quickly fall off of focus. And so you see in the background there's some various shapes and colors, but it's all very general and soft, and there's not really anything that you can tell of the background other than, you know, making some guesses because of the shapes or the colors or anything else. That's what my mind goes to when the question comes up, how do I blur my background? So with that in mind, the purpose and how that's done is by this one camera setting in allowing yourself to shoot with a very small aperture number, which is a very wide open lens diaphragm. So adjust your lens diaphragm f-stop number to something that is, I want to say something below 8 or 7. I think most lenses are going to let you go down to 5.6 or something around there, 4. And that will allow you to blur most of your backgrounds. But the other key is to understanding the depth of field. We're going to get into another topic in another video about hyperfocal distances. And so we're going to get a little bit more in depth on the study of the depth of field and the circle of confusion. Don't let all this get you distracted or disappointed. We'll go over as much as we need to help you understand and help you figure out what you need to. We're also going to give you some links to resources we found that we think are helpful. And that website that I found with resources and helps have an app available. So we'll take a look into that and see if it's a free app or not. Sometimes free apps aren't the best. And paid apps are, the old adage, you get what you pay for. Well, if you don't pay for something, then you're not going to be getting very much value. Well, we hope this is different. We'll check it out and let you know. But that's the basic answer very quickly. If you just want a quick answer and go out and start playing around with it and testing it, aperture is your key. And you're going to want to set a low f-stop number, which allows your diaphragm and your lens to open very wide, which allows for greater light or chromatic aberration. And that's what allows for a smaller clarity area because of the wide open diaphragm, and requires you to set a tighter or more focused focus area. So we hope this has been a help and added content to your photography, not just content but value. And so we appreciate your subscription, like this video, and comment down below. Let us know how it worked out for you and what you're learning and what the distances are of how blurred it gets for you and what f-stops you're setting. Thank you so much, and we appreciate your subscription. God bless. All right, so what I do is I look through the viewfinder of my camera with one eye, and I keep my other eye open so that it is unobstructed. Not looking through a camera, I can see directly to the object that my other eye through the camera viewfinder is looking at. So I have a binocular view of my subject or object, one through the camera viewfinder, the other not. Neither view of the subject or object is obscured, but it does allow for the part of your eye and your brain that's trying to figure out what your eye is looking at through your camera's viewfinder to line up the better in focus your other eye can see without obstruction naturally from line of sight from that eye to the object, so that when you rotate your focus ring, you rotate it until the eye that's seeing through the viewfinder goes, oh, I see it now. And that allows you to get much closer into true focus. And then you can just make minor adjustments and do a sharper focus on the specific particular item of whatever you've now gotten closer to in focus. And that'll help you as you adjust your aperture for your lens and other things to bring in a sharp focus on your subject.